Hello, dear students. Good morning to all of you. As we have discussed about the joint joint into family business, now today we will start the new form of business, that is joint stock company, or simply it is known as company. So, dear students, joint stock company is a kind of voluntary association of a person for profit having a capital divided into transferable shares, and the ownership of which is the condition of membership. So, dear students, simply we can say, according to the according to the definition of joint stock company, an ideal definition. So, joint stock company is a kind of association of members where members are combined together for the purpose of doing some business, where the ownership is divided into shares, or the capital of the company is divided into small units known as shares. The person who are holding the shares, how much shares they are holding, they are the owner of that particular share, and it has a common seal which defines the existence of the company. But according to Companies Act 2013, it is clearly stated that a company is the company which is registered under Companies Act 2013 or under the provision of any other previous or any scheduled Companies Act like 1956, 2007, 1939, 1938, 1949, etc. So, dear students, basically, according to the Companies Act, company means registered company. Simply, it is stated. Now, on the basis of the above definition, we find the following features of the company. First is, it is a kind of incorporated association. Dear students, the company must be incorporated or registered, because in the Companies Act 2013, it is clearly stated that a company means company registered under the Act 2013 or any other previous provision. Without the registration, a company cannot be the company. Or simply we can say, without the registration, no company can come into the existence. Now next is separate legal existence. So it is created by law and it is a distinct legal independent of its member. It can own property, enter into contracts, can file suits in its own name, because the company has its separate legal entity and the existence of the company is different from its member. Company is basically independent of its members, and company can also own property, and company can file a case against anyone if it is required by the name of its own. So, dear students, due to registration, it has a separate legal entity. Next is perpetual succession. Since the company has a separate existence, therefore it has a perpetual succession or perpetual existence, because the death, insolvency or insanity or change of members cannot affect the life of the company, cannot affect the existence of the company. The company will be in the existence till it does not go for winding up, and that's why it is said about the company that members may come, members may go, but company runs forever. It this lines This line denotes the perpetual succession, perpetual existence of the company. Now the next term, that is limited liability. As we know that the liability of the every member is limited to the nominal value of the shares bought by him or to the amount guaranteed by him or transferability of shares of public company are easily transferable. So dear students, basically in the company, the liability of the liability of the members are limited, and liability of the members are limited to the shares taken by them. If there is any loss, they cannot afford the excess amount of the loss till the amount they have introduced. And if you are talking about the transferability of shares in the company, especially in public company, shares can be transferred easily. A company can transfer its shares easily, especially in case of public company. But in case of partnership firm, partner cannot transfer its shares to others without the acceptance of the other partner. Now next is common seal. It denotes the official signature of the company, and it is affixed on all important documents of the company, which denotes the existence of the company, which denotes that company is running. Now next feature is separation of ownership and control. Dear students, management of company is in the hands of elected representatives of shareholders, known individually as director and collectively as board of directors. Therefore, the board of directors are going to control over the business, and the managing director is known as the owner of the business till that period. So dear students, these were few basic features of company. Now, on the basis of above study, we find some merits of the company, which are limited liability. As we have discussed so many forms of business organization like sole proprietorship, partnership, joint Hindu family business, but in company the liability of the shareholders or the members are limited to the shares taken by them. Here the risk of the shareholders are reduced, the degree of risk only to the shares taken by them. Now next is transfer of interest. If we are saying about the transferability, so in case of company, shares can be easily transferable, and due to transferability of shares, it can be easily invested by anyone or in anyone's favor. Now next merit is perpetual succession. As in the case of sole proprietorship or in partnership, in the case of death or insanity or insolvency of the members, there the existence of the firm are in danger. But in case of company's existence cannot be affected by the death, insanity or insolvency of the members. Company will not be liquidated if these terms are happening. Company will go on, company will continue. Now the next importance or merit is a scope of expansion. A company can collect huge amount of capital from unlimited number of members who are ready to invest because of limited liability, easy transferability, and change of chances of high return. So, dear students, the company has a broad scope for getting the financial resources, especially because members are ready to invest their money in the company due to so many features like limited liability, easy transferability, and chances of high returns, etc. Now, the next term, that is professional management. As we know that the company has a large amount of economic resources or financial resources. Therefore, a company can afford to employ high qualified experts in different areas of business management. Now, there are some limitations too in the company, and that is, first is legal formalities. The procedure of the formation is very long and time consuming and expensive too. Therefore, the legal formalities have lots of requirement to be fulfilled. Next is lack of secrecy. It is very difficult to maintain secrecy in case of public company, as company is required to publish and file its manual and accounts and reports. The next limitation, that is lack of motivation. Dear students, divorce between ownership and control and absence of direct link between effort and reward lead to lack of personal interest and incentives. Now, the next demerit of the company is delay in decision making, because it is known that red tapeism. So red tapeism and bureaucracy do not permit quick decision, because the managing director cannot take the decision of the company by its own. They have to make the discussion in board of directors, or until or unless board of directors is not giving any clear cut decision or not giving any particular decision or in favor of any one decision, then it is quite impossible to take decision at time. So there is a chance to delay in decision making also. Next, oligarchic management. Company is said to be democratically managed, but actually managed by few people, that is board of directors. Sometimes they take decisions keeping in mind their personal interest and benefits, ignoring the interest of the shareholders and company too. Therefore, it is on the basis of disclosure, it can be said that there is a democratic management, but basically the management is done or decisions are taken by few people for keeping in view their own interest. Now, dear students, as we have discussed about the features, merits and demerits of the company, now we should have to learn about the types of companies. So dear students, basically the types of companies have been divided into three kinds, and that is, first is private company. According to the Act of Company, a private company means a company which restricts the right of the members to transfer its shares. Second, it has a minimum 2 or maximum 200 members excluding the present and past employees. Next, it does not invite public and its securities. Next, it is necessary for private company that to use private limited after its name. If a private company contravenes any of the aforesaid provision, it ceases to be private company and loses all the exemptions and privileges to which it is entitled. So dear students, a private company must have to fulfill it. Now if we are talking about the privileges, we will discuss the privilege in the next class. First of all, now discuss about the second type, that is public company. So regarding the public company, a public company is the company which is not a private company as per the Companies Act. A public company is one which has a minimum 7 members and has no maximum number of members, have no limits, and has no restrictions on its transfer of securities, and is not prohibited from inviting public to subscription to its securities. So basically these are few important points to define a public company. Now the next term, that is one person company. So one person company, according to the Companies Act 2013, section 2 subsection 62 of Companies Act, it defines that a one person company is the company that has only one person as to its member. Furthermore, members of the companies are nothing but subscribers to its memorandum of association or its shareholders. So an OPC is effectively a company that has only one shareholder as its member, and such company are generally created when there is only one founder or promoter for the business. Entrepreneurs whose business lie in early stage prefer to create OPC instead of sole proprietorship business because of the several advantages of OPC offer. Now, as we have discussed about the OPC, we find the following features of one person company, which are as follows. First, it is a kind of private company, as we know that it is owned and controlled and managed by one person. That's why it is a kind of private company. Second, it has only one member. The minimum and maximum number of member will be one. And if we are talking about the nominee, a unique feature of the OPC that separates it from other kind of companies is that the sole member of the company has to mention a nominee while registering the company. In other cases, there is no requirement of the nominee, but here nominee is required. Now, no perpetual succession, because company is going to be managed and controlled by one person. Therefore, the death, insanity, and other thing will affect the existence of company, continuity of company. And in case of director, in OPC only one director will be there, but in other companies it can also exceed its maximum number of directors to 15. Now if we are talking about the minimum paid up share capital, so Companies Act 2013 has no prescribed any amount as minimum paid up capital for OPC, but basically it is assumed as rupees 1 lakh since it is a kind of private company. Now next term, that is special privileges. An OPC enjoys several privileges and exemptions under the Companies Act, and that other kind of companies do not possess. So dear students, basically these were the types of companies. Tomorrow we will discuss about the privileges which are going to be availed by limited company, especially private companies, and we will discuss ahead like the different documents of the company, registration of the companies, and how the company is going for winding up. So dear students, I hope you all have got the today's topic. Thank you.